Creepy Collage is a series that started last autumn. It came about because, well, I enjoy collage, yes, but also because I'd gotten this black book from DAISO. Hi, I'm Irene, and today is a collage day. Sure, I love inks, watercolors, and gouache, but sometimes I get an itch to play with stationery. Back to Daiso. Most of their items are like $2, but they have other price points such as $5 and $10. I'm pretty sure this was only $2 though. The point is, it was cheap enough to dedicate to a specific project. In this case, creepy stuff. Edgar Allan Poe, bats, and a Halloween party were themes used for previous spreads. This time, though, it's a dual topic, and I'll elaborate on both later on. For now, I want to talk about some of the tools I use for collaging. It's not a lot, just a pair of tweezers, a pair of scissors, and an adhesive dot roller. I had purchased a set of tweezers from Dollar Tree, but they were weak and didn't grab thin items, such as stickers, very well. But a relative got me a Sizzix brand bent-nosed precision tweezers, and that has worked much better. I don't use it for everything, but I've encountered enough tricky stickers to make having it on hand worthwhile. The scissors I'm using are from Dollar Tree, and they are just fine for paper crafting. No complaints there. The handle even has an attractive tortoise shell-like pattern. Early on, I'd purchased one of the cheapest adhesive rollers I could find. It was a multi-pack from Amazon, and I don't even recall the brand now. But they were not good. Now I'm using the Scotch brand and having better results and fewer headaches. If you're unfamiliar, dot rollers lay down a thin film of adhesive. They are very popular for paper crafting, such as card making and scrapbooking. There are several brands out there, and they can get pricey, but I bought this Scotch roller in a multi-pack for a reasonable price on Amazon. Supplies such as stationery, washi tapes, stickers, and assorted ephemera came from several sources. AliExpress, antique malls, thrift shops, friends and family, and my own personal collection acquired over the years. Case in point, this left page is about an event producer Mike and I attended more than 10 years ago. I'd held onto a piece of related ephemera all this time. It's a little card with all the deets, including where and when. It took place at the Seymour Botanical Conservatory at Wright Park in Tacoma. Oh, it was open to the public. We weren't like members of a club or anything. It was during the last 2 weeks of October, and the place was all decked out in creepy decor. They'd added a bunch of carnivorous plants along with appropriate signage and warnings. It was so cool. The washi tape I'd placed there kept popping off, but I solved that problem later on by applying some extra adhesion. It's not even the middle of October yet, but my head has been filled with thoughts of Thanksgiving. Here in the U.S., Thanksgiving falls on the fourth Thursday in November. So at the time of this voiceover recording, it's still more than 6 weeks away. It's all Pinterest's fault. I don't know if that platform is as popular as it once was, but I still indulge various interests there. These days, I mostly use it for browsing houseplants and recipes. And since it's now autumn, I can't help but look for apple ciders, pumpkin pies, mushroom soups, and all the other season-specific goodies. Halloween this year will be a small affair, mainly handing out candy and watching a movie, and my mind has sped ahead to Thanksgiving. So while part of me is anticipating green bean casserole, another part is yelling, Halloween! Focus! What's cool about this DAISO book is that it makes my hands look huge. Speaking of, today's nail color is Come Closer from Sinful Colors. It was part of their Naughty Nudes collection from several years ago. Sinful Colors are about $2 a bottle, but they've put out some really attractive colors. Those rub-on stickers are fun. It's highly satisfying to cut each one, peel off the backing, then rub the design onto your surface. These in particular, as they look like real dried pressed foliage. Returning only briefly to the topic of nail polish, I often go for neutral shades because application mistakes aren't as obvious. Maybe I should art that way too, yeah? Use pale tones that blend into the paper? It's a thought. The right-hand page is more vaguely themed. I was thinking of spirit mediums. You know, people who perform seances and contact the dear departed. But it's hard to depict that, so I used what I had to make it a very general psychic visions sort of spread. The whole time I was working on this page, I was thinking of seance scenes from movies like The Haunting of Julia, The Changeling, The Others, and The Awakening. If I had to choose a favorite seance scene, it would be the one from The Changeling. Really well done and low-key tense. Some of the credit has to go to the actor, George C. Scott, who played his role perfectly. Come to think of it, George was also in The Exorcist 3, which is another one of my go-to horror movies. And he was in my favorite version of A Christmas Carol, which is full of ghosts. There's a running theme there, and I can't quite pinpoint it. But there's one movie in particular that ran through my head, and that was Seance on a Wet Afternoon. It's a British-made film from the 1960s. I only discovered it a few years ago, but it stuck with me. It's about a psychic medium who apparently wants recognition for her gifts. So she comes up with a criminal plan to make it happen, using her husband for the dirty work. That's not really a spoiler, since it's practically underway when the movie begins. I suppose you'd call it psychological suspense. Nothing really scary. Not horror story scary, anyway. Nothing like the fire hose in The Shining, the deadfall in Pet Sematary, the water tower in It, or the dust bunnies in Dolores Claiborne. Yeah, I've also got Stephen King on my mind. I watched the new movie, Mr. Harrigan's Phone, on Netflix. For a King story, it was relatively scare-free. I mostly enjoyed it, though, as a quiet, simple drama with a supernatural element. I'd say it's not a must-see, but I also don't feel as if I wasted my time. There are a couple of stickers depicting bundled-up letters. I imagine a psychic directing you to where they're hidden, and it's while reading through them that you discover shocking family secrets that change everything. The eyes are a reference to psychic visions, and the candelabra and carriage light are meant to symbolize the knowledge and enlightenment gained from those visions. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a stretch. I'm a fan of ghost stories, but I have plans for a future ghost-themed spread, so I'll save those thoughts for then. The brown foliage adds to the air of solemnity, I think, or perhaps poor housekeeping. For a fun and creepy short video, I direct you to The Facts in the Case of Mr. Hollow. It's from 2008 and it's only 6 minutes long. It's the study of a photograph, and as the camera pans over it, details that at first seemed innocuous become more sinister, and the dread builds. It's a great little piece, one I've watched and rewatched many times. I believe the title is a play on the Edgar Allan Poe title, The Facts in the Case of Monsieur Valdemar. That particular Poe piece can be seen in the animated anthology Extraordinary Tales. That's from 2013 and contains 5 of Poe's stories, each in a different visual style. The movie is quite short, only about an hour long, and a bit obscure. I don't know if it's currently streaming, but I recommend it to fans of Poe if they can find it. I usually try to make space for handwritten notations. Here it was simply brief reflections on that day at the park. Only I spelled it as part. My relatives will have to hire a psychic to find this right part that Aunt Irene was talking about. I'm happy to share this session of paper pandemonium. Dare I say, it's the creepiest collage yet. Sure, I'm overselling it, but a gal's gotta toot her horn. Until next time, beware of man-eating plants and family secrets. They're all in the letters, I tell you. And stay artsy, my friends.